Hi guys, my name is Steven, and welcome to video number 16 of my new series called Introduction to CodeIgniter. What I'll be showing you guys in this video is we'll be taking our website that we've made so far, and we will be making the values and the data actually be drawn from a database instead of just from an HTML sheet. By doing that, we'll be actually making the website more or less dynamic in the fact that, or in the sense that other things can update, or other scripts like a CMS could actually update the database and make that content change without actually having to change any HTML, which is extremely powerful and extremely useful in the industry of web development today. It's actually what I make a living doing. So yeah, let's get started. What we'll start with is we're actually going to create the database that we'll be putting all the values into, and then we'll be taking them out of. We'll go into our phpMyAdmin, and we'll create a new database. We'll call it CI_site. Database CI_site has been created. Excellent. So we can actually go to it, and we're going to create a new table on here called page data. The number of columns, it will be 5. We'll have 5 columns. And I'll show you what those are in a second. We'll click go. First one will be ID, obviously. I'm sure you're used to doing this by now. Index primary, auto increment. The second will be the title of the page. In this case, that'll just be text. Varchar would work just fine if you're not using this version of phpMyAdmin. The next one we're going to do is the page, to specify for this row which page it's for. Text1. Sorry, these are both text as well. And then text2. Excellent. So now this is done, we can scroll to the bottom and click save. That's done. So now we'll go into this table and we'll add our values. We'll go insert. And now, if you remember a couple videos ago, we actually put this content home, content about. We filled these up, and this is actually what makes up the bulk of our data on our website. So if we refresh this is exactly what's coming out of these views. What we want to do is put this data on the database, so that so these values aren't in the HTML, they're in the database. So we'll just start copying and pasting all of these. The title is homepage for this row. We'll copy and paste them all into the database, and then we'll take them out in a minute. The second is this string of text right here. I guess I should copy it from the HTML. Copy. This goes in for text1. Oh, I made a mistake. This is not supposed to be int. So let's go back into structure. We'll just cancel this. The structure change should be text. Save. Okay. Sorry about that. Now we'll go in and insert this. First title is homepage. Text1. Let's check out my awesome business. And the second one is the second p tag. This whole lorem ipsum string, which actually, I guess I put this one in for page. We're actually going to put it in for text1. The page is this one will obviously be home, and I'll show you why that's set there for a reason in a minute. Okay, so now that we have the first row completed, it's got the title of homepage. ID we leave blank because that's auto incremented. That'll be automatically set to 1. Page is home. Text1 is this. Text2 is that. We'll do the second thing for the about page. If we go to the about view, actually just copy this. Actually, retype it. About page. This is for the about page, so we'll only put this, and this is very important. For text1 is, I guess, the same thing. So for that lorem ipsum string, we'll actually just copy and paste it from up here too. Control C, Control V. Okay, so this should be all good to go. We'll click go, and then browse. and then our 2 rows in our database have now been entered. This won't change anything that in our code yet. We're actually going to go ahead and do that right now. So the first thing we want to do is create a new model that's actually going to get these values from the database. No, sorry, the first thing we want to do is configure the database. So we'll go into config, database. Now the host name for me is going to be localhost. And that is found right here. I'll show you. If we go back to the, click on the phpMyAdmin logo, and then it'll show you server localhost for me, right? And you can also see that my user is root. There's no password because this is a local server with no security set up. So I have no I don't have to worry about security. So we'll go and we'll put my username as root, password blank, and the database. We just set that up. That's CI_site. So we'll save this. And if we refresh our application, we can actually tell if we had any errors. So click refresh, and there's no errors. If we did have a problem connecting, it would actually show us if we refresh the page. Okay, the second thing I'm going to do is we're going to go into our models. We haven't created that. Okay, we'll go into models. We're going to create a new model that's going to get these values from the database now that we're connected. We'll call this model_get.php. Go into it, and here we'll write our model. Class model_get extends CI_model. And here's where we'll write our function. We'll call it, let's see, what should we call it? Get data, because that's what it does. Now this function will receive one parameter, and that will just be page. So that we can use the same function for both the different functions in our controller. And I'll show you that in a second too. What we'll do is we'll create our query object, set that equal to this db get_where get where actually it receives 2 parameters. The first is the table that we're getting it from. We've already specified the database, which is CI_site. The table is page data, and the second is the where specifier. So that is an array, or it receives an associative array. So the first thing will be the row that we're going to compare the value to, and the second will be actually the variable that we pass in, which is page. So we're going to specify when we call this function which page we're running the function for, and then it's actually going to grab that row from the database and then return it. So we'll go return the query object and the result of it, and that is a function. So those go there. Another thing we have to do is check and make sure that the database library is turned on. So we'll do that really quick actually. We'll go config, autoload, and this is something that we usually want to have autoloaded, and it is. So if you're having problems, or this will prevent problems if you're trying to use the DB functions ahead of time. So this model should be good to go. We'll go back into our site controller and start using it. So what we'll do is we'll load the model. We'll go this load model, and the model will be model_get. Yes. Now we'll call a function the model. We'll go this model_get, and then get data. And for this one, because it's for the home page, we're going to pass in the value of home. So our model then is going to receive whatever we pass in this case it's home, and it's going to look on the database for the row where the page is home. And we're actually going to do one more thing. We're going to make a new array, the data array, which is pretty common. I use the data array a lot. And we're going to set it equal create a new array inside the data array called results and set it equal to the array that is returned, full of the row from the database from this model. The next thing we want to do is pass in the data array to the view that we want to use it in. In this case, it will be the content_home view. And then if we go into content_home, we have all this text that now no longer needs to be static, because we're basically, the controller is handing it to the view, and now we can use it inside the view. So what we'll do is we'll leave that for now, and we'll open up our PHP tags. And we will start a for each statement. We'll say for every results as row. So it's going to be receiving this results array passed from the site controller, which will be this variable here, which essentially will be the array returned from the database for each row. And then we're going to start grabbing some values out of it, out of this array. So the title will be row title. The text1 will be row text1, and text2 will be row text2. Okay, wonderful. The next thing we want to do is we will echo out a heading, which will be replacing this. And we do have the URL helper already auto-loaded, so we can actually use the heading function, part of the autoload helper. We'll go title, and it'll be an h1 tag. So we can delete this. Next thing we'll do is we'll actually delete this stuff. We'll go open up our PHP tags, and we will echo text1. Then we can delete this and just duplicate this line. In case you're not familiar, I just press Control D. I'm in PHP ED. The command is the same for Notepad++, and other than that, I'm not sure. But in the second line, we'll be echoing text2 instead of text1 because we grabbed both of them up here. Now, if we save this, and I think I need to, yes, I do need to save my site controller. We'll save this too. This should actually echo the exact same thing. So if this was a success, it'll look exactly the same. We refresh the page and it looks exactly the same. So our content is now dynamic. Why don't we actually give that a try? We'll go to CI_site into the page data table. For the home, we'll edit some of this data. And instead of for lorem ipsum, we'll give it a couple enters and go testing for the internet. Go down and go click go. And back to our website. We'll refresh this. Look at that. Oh my goodness, how cool is that? Now we have content managed pages. Well, just one page. The about page is still the exact same. But let me show you how powerful this actually is. Now that I've written this, clean this up a little bit, we can copy the exact same thing into the about view. I'll just Control C, and I'm gonna highlight all of this and paste it, replace everything with this exact same thing. And we're just gonna pass it in a different row and call the function in the site controller. So if we go back into the site controller, we can copy and paste this, Control C, except for, I'm sure you guessed, we're going to pass in about instead of home, so it's going to return whatever is in the about row. We just need to pass in the data array. Sure enough, now if we save the controller, go back to our website and click on the about link, and that is our awesome content managed about page now. To test this, why don't we change some of the about data? Click edit, scroll down, put BR in here, about, go, and if we refresh this, woo, look at that. Okay, I'm getting a little excited. Programming is so much fun. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Our website is now content managed. Now if we have something like a content management system, this content can now be changed on the fly with something, or just from PHP ED like you've seen me do, and it updates the website dynamically. It's extremely powerful, extremely useful, and that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Next video we'll be talking about the form helper. We'll be working on the contact page, because you've seen here we haven't actually linked it to anything. So next video we will be working on sending a form and an email and all kinds of fun things. Thanks for watching.